Let's transform our wardrobes without spending a ton of money. I'm going to show you how to use stick fusible interfacing to transform your old or plain clothing into one-of-a-kind pieces. First up is this simple white hat that I got at the thrift store. So first up, we need to make a pattern to use. I am just using plain old copy paper and tracing the bill of the hat. I'm going to cut that out and size it a couple of times until I get it just right so that I have a pattern that fits the bill of the hat. Now I also want to put a cute patch on the front of this cap, and so I have printed a template for a patch. It's approximately 3 inches wide and then about 1.5 inches tall. See there, I'm checking to make sure it's going to fit. And once I've cut that out, I will have the perfect pattern template to use on the fabric in just a few minutes. I decided to use a fun, colorful floral print since it is springtime, and I have just enough of this that I can make my cap coordinate with my shirt and my jeans. So I'm going to have a cute little ensemble when I'm done with this project. I am cutting the floral fabric so that it's slightly larger than my template, and I will be adding this stick fusible interfacing to the back of this. I'm also going to use that template I made for the patch so I can cut out a cute little sloth from this pattern fabric that coordinates with the floral pattern. Again, I'm cutting the fabric slightly larger than my template so that I have some excess to work with. I'm using that template that I made earlier to help size everything, make sure it's just right. Now this stick fusible interfacing is double-sided, so one side is going to stick to my fabric patches that I'm making, and then the other side will be stuck onto my cap in this case. So I am cutting a piece of that stick fusible interfacing that's about the same size as the fabric pieces I've cut. Now, as I mentioned, it's double-sided. So to keep this from sticking to my ironing board, I am using parchment paper. So I've got parchment paper underneath. I put the fusible interfacing on the bottom, my fabric piece on top, and then covered it with some more parchment paper because, I don't want any of this to stick to my iron because then that'll be sticking to everything forever. So that parchment paper helps keep everything protected. So now that has fused to the back of the fabric, and I'm going to use my template to cut out that part that's going on the bill of the cap. I didn't show that in this video, but I cut it and then I did stitch around the edges just to give it a nice finished look. And then I am using my iron with the steam setting on and just ironing that right onto the bill. Isn't that fun? I mean, it looks like I bought it that way. I love that it just instantly transforms this boring old cap and makes it something new and different. I put a piece of foam inside the cap to hold the shape and iron my patch on, and voila, hat is done. Next up, I'm going to update this beloved shirt that unfortunately got stains on it. I don't know if that happened in the wash or crafting, but it's a nice shirt and I don't want to toss it, and I'm all about sustainability, so instead of buying a new shirt, let's make this into something colorful and different. I am using a cardboard box. This was a frozen pizza box. Cutting that up, and I knew I wanted to make like a geometric kind of print on this that would look stylish and also help cover up those stains on my shirt. So using the cardboard makes it easy for me to cut the pattern out that I want so I can visually see what it's going to look like on the shirt when I'm done. And this way, if I mess it up, I'm not, out any fabric or anything. I can just keep cutting the cardboard until I have exactly what I want. So once I'm happy with my design, I'm using that same floral fabric that I used on the cap, and I'm going to cut out pieces that are slightly larger than my pattern. Now, one mistake I did make here, I should have flipped my pattern over because, see, I'm doing the reverse of it. But that's okay. It still worked out, as you'll see in a little bit. So I'm trimming down that fabric so that it fits my cardboard template. And the reason I use cardboard is so I could do this. I am folding those edges over and I am ironing them onto my template. And since the cardboard is rigid, it's going to help hold the shape. So once I have ironed all these edges down, I'm going to head over to my sewing machine, take out the cardboard template, and then sew along the edges. So this way, when I iron this onto my shirt, I have some nice finished edges that won't fray. I could have stuck this on the shirt first and then ironed it, but this made it just a little bit quicker, and it's just easier to sew it when it's, done before I have ironed it onto the shirt. So there it is, all stitched down. I do have a little excess fabric there I need to trim off so that when I add the fusible interfacing, the edges get completely sealed onto my shirt. So just like I did with the hat, I've got the fusible interfacing on the bottom, the fabric on top. I'm going to protect everything with that parchment paper and iron it on. So now, if you have a little bit of the extra stick showing on the edge there, you do want to trim that off. Otherwise, it's going to stick and stain your fabric or stick to your iron. So now I basically have a patch, right? I've made my own fabric patch that I can now iron onto my shirt. So there's my boo-boo shirt with the stains on it. But once I'm done with this, you are not going to see those stains anymore. We're just going to see this cute geometric floral pattern. And I'm ironing that on to activate the stick interfacing, and done. New shirt, ready to wear. And finally, I want some jeans that will coordinate with my adorable shirt and my cap. So I am using a glitter craft fabric that I'm just going to iron that interfacing on it again. And now it's activated, and I can use this with my pattern. For this template, I used a ribbon SVG that I just printed out, cut it, and then I'm tracing it onto the back of my fabric so I can cut that out and have an adorable glitter ribbon that I can just fuse onto the pocket of my jeans. And it's, a small detail, but it's so cute and just changes the look of these boring old jeans. Now, I was having so much fun with my stick fusible interfacing. I was like, all right, what else can I make with this? And I thought, okay, let's try out some home decor. So I made I guess like my version of an embroidery hoop. I've tried embroidery. I really don't have the patience for it, but I love the way it looks. So this is kind of a cheat version with fabric. I'm going to use the stick fusible interfacing to attach all of the pieces to my embroidery hoop fabric, and then just use a little bit of embroidery thread to help add some details like the whiskers. And later I'll probably go in and add a little message or maybe embroider some of the flowers to create kind of a multimedia piece. So this one's still a work in project, but I had to share since I'm having so much fun with stick fusible interfacing. And maybe if you're like me, you'll want to try out other things that you can do with this really cool interfacing. I noticed on the packaging it says that stick works on wood, so that is next on my list. I can't wait to see what I can do when I adhere fabric to wood. And I'm thinking cut it with my laser cutter, or maybe adding it to some pre-cut wood pieces. It's just really fun to think about all the different things that you can make with stick fusible interfacing. I'd love to hear what you've used it for, or what suggestions you have that I could try with this really cool product. I have so much fabric that I would love to find ways to use it with the stick fusible interfacing, just to make maybe some accessories or some more home decor. I hope these different projects inspired you, and maybe you'll take another look at your wardrobe, and instead of tossing something out, think about how you can update it with just a little bit of fabric, your iron, and stick fusible interfacing. Thanks for watching.